Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Hautemess Tom, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are new to my channel, hi, welcome. My channel is all about loving my makeup collection as it currently is, being critical of new makeup releases, and being very considerate when I do decide to bring something into my makeup collection if it's going to make sense in my collection. I try not to buy things just to review. I just try not to overspend. There was a time where I felt like I needed to buy everything that ever came out in the makeup world, and now I don't really abide by that. So today let's play with makeup. I'm gonna play with some makeup. We're gonna talk. It's very akin to a get ready with me. Before we get into the video, number of things. Hi, welcome back. It's been a minute. I'm sorry, I disappeared. I promise that I am okay, but I definitely was not great I got a new haircut. I was trying to distract you from having emotions, but I got my hair cut and I did something very different, which is so funny because basically all it is like my hair used to swoop back and now it's like coming forward. Like I have a little bit of a bang with like a ton of texture. I love it. Anyway, it was a very emotional week for me last week, and so I just did not have the to-do to be here, but everything is fine. I'm excited to be back. I have been excited to record all day because I knew I was going to record today, and I've been excited to record all day. Pittsburgh City Paper is currently doing their Best of Pittsburgh 2022. I'm trying to get nominated, and essentially how their nomination process works is that you can nominate every single day for the entirety of the month of June, and I'm in a number of categories right now, so I would really appreciate it if you took some time to nominate me in the categories listed in my description box below. There's a link down there. You don't have to live in Pittsburgh to vote. I just have to live here to be voted on, and so I'm there for Thirst Trap. I'm there for Best YouTube. YouTube is the number one thing that I'm going for, but apparently a myriad of people think I belong in many a category. I will list all of the categories that I am in, that I have been nominated enough times to receive a nominate button, but I have to rank in the top 10 of each category to get into the voting rounds where you're actually voting for me. And when the voting rounds start, you only get to vote once in that time frame. So if you could just vote for me every day, I'd really appreciate it. Other YouTube things before I forget, make sure you would love to hear you comment. Make sure you subscribe. I'm also on Patreon if you'd like to support me there. Dear patrons, I did not forget about you. I have stuff coming your way. It's coming. It's all coming. Becoming. Happy Pride. Sisters Pittsburgh is a nonprofit organization that I would like for you to support if you have money to support. If not, no big deal, but I'll have them linked down below. If you were interested in donating to a Black trans-led organization here in Pittsburgh, I would really appreciate it. Also, you can actually nominate them too. They're in a couple of categories for best organization, etc. I think that's all of my stuff. It's a lot at the top. Okay, so the reason I wanted to come back with a Let's Play with Makeup is because I haven't played with makeup in a while. I am playing with a new eyeshadow on my eyes. I built my own palette. I did not record any of this, but this will be a video that's coming down the pipeline. So I bought some eyeshadows from Terra Moons from their Labor Day sale. Listen, time is passing. Time keeps on ticking. I'm going to play with these eyeshadows. But if you're new here, typically with my Let's Play with Makeup series, is I like to try to pull out the thing that I haven't used in the longest amount of time, or I like to take it as an opportunity to play with things that I haven't spent a lot of time playing with. So that's like the vibe here. We're either playing with like very new things or like very old things, because balance. Okay, I think I'm going to start with my eyes though. And for my eyeshadow primer, I'm going to use the Atelier Eye Primer, and then I'm going to set it with the Pat McGrath powder. But while I was amiss, I still was watching YouTube. I just wasn't watching as much. Basically, I needed to go back to a comfort show. If you're somebody like me who you just need to watch something that you've already seen a 10 bajillion times, I was watching Bob's Burgers, and I was even putting the timer on my TV so I could hear it as I was falling asleep. I was just taking care of myself the way that I knew how. However, I had noticed something. I had noticed a conversation get reignited while I was away, and it had started before I was away. But while I was away, I was like, why are we all talking about this right now? I'm really confused. And it was the state of the beauty community. And what it is it dying? What does it look like now? And I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts on that I would just like to talk through while I'm putting on my makeup today. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, that's linked down below. You know, a lot of the nominations have to do with Instagram specifically, except for the YouTube account. And if you've ever been interested in thoughty pictures from me, it's literally what's been going on my channel for the past week or so. And like, this is not to call out any one particular creator for like making the state of the YouTube beauty community or the beauty community, whatever. Here's like what I feel like everyone's overall thoughts have been. And so also, if you're new here, what I don't do while I'm like putting on my makeup during these is I'm not really trying to sell you anything. I will have it all listed down below, but if you like a color of eyeshadow, the whole idea is if you want to emulate the look, take a look at your own collection and try to match as best you can with what you have. That's what I'm asking of you in these videos. What I felt like the general vibe of these other videos that I had been seeing was, I think we're gonna do a blue look, which I don't really do blue too often. This is like what the discourse has felt like to me, like what I've been seeing is like the beauty community on YouTube specifically is dying, and that everything has moved to TikTok. And I don't agree with that. I think the people who consume YouTube, people who like longer form content and want to see more than just a few seconds on a product, they're still here. They're still around. They're looking for the products that they're interested in. But I think the main difference on what you're seeing on YouTube versus TikTok is for you to be committed to watching me, is you to like me, you have to understand my preferences, and I give you the time and space to learn those preferences that I have. And sometimes my preferences will not align with your preferences, but you still like watching me, and by knowing what my preferences are and knowing the things that I like versus what you like helps you make a decision even if we are not on the same page. However, when you're scrolling through TikTok, and I would say like, I personally, as someone who uses TikTok, I never stop at a person's account to watch all of their videos. I also very rarely follow people on TikTok. And this could be, you know, generational. Like maybe that's why it's like I'm a little bit older. Like I'm on the older side of like a TikTok user. I'm not saying that I'm old, but like for TikTok, I'm old. For lack of a better person, I think a person from TikTok that a lot of people know is Michaela. Michaela has a lot of followers and makes a lot of beauty content. And she every now and then will pop up onto my TikTok feed. And it's not that I don't like Michaela, but I don't know what Michaela's preferences are in foundation. And I'm not going to go to her page to learn that either. I'm not going to scroll through all of her TikToks, because that one thing about TikTok that YouTube has and it doesn't is that the search feature, unless you're like hashtagging very specifically, you're not going to like stumble onto someone's review. Like, especially when it comes to like indie brands, not that a lot of YouTubers are always reviewing indie brands, but if they are, they're going to have the keyword. You're going to be able to find it on YouTube, and like TikTok, you're not going to be able to. But sorry, back to my original point. To me, it feels like my relationship with Michaela is like the people who do really well on like makeup TikTok, which is actually not something, my feed isn't really makeup heavy on TikTok. I like it to like watch people being idiots. And that's kind of like my favorite thing to watch on TikTok. So know that. So it's like not really my feed to begin with, but like, well, obviously people on YouTube also have personas that they put on to be more bubbly and be more personable. You have to do that in such a short amount of time on TikTok. And to me, I don't have the trust with a TikToker that I do with people on YouTube that I have taken time to, you know, build trust in. And I don't know about you. If you've ever bought something based on the recommendation of a YouTuber, and maybe everyone's different, and that's also very possible, but like, I'm not gonna buy something from someone based on the first video I watch of them. And if I wanted to see that review, I'll watch that review, and then I'll watch some of their other content to get a vibe from them, to see what they like. And so like, I just can't trust on a 60-second video alone someone's recommendation or hatred of a product. You can't. And not only that, we've seen what's gone on TikTok, you know, with the Bobbi Brown, What the Foundation. We've seen like what can happen on TikTok. And obviously that easily could have happened on YouTube as well. I'm not saying that YouTube is perfect by any means. I think really what it's coming down to now, like what the difference is, it's like what kind of content do you want to consume? Do you want to consume shorter content? And are you willing to really trust someone based on like 60 seconds with them? Because if you are, then like TikTok's going to be like probably a better fit for you than YouTube. But if not, YouTube's going to have like more detailed, more well thought out reviews where like you can see the products in motion a little bit more, maybe more than once. And like I say all of this, if you are familiar with my content, if you've ever seen me review something, if you've ever watched my channel, you're not really going to see a product only one time on my channel at all. In fact, when I'm testing products to review, sometimes I do that on camera. Sometimes they show up in these videos and you can see how they apply in this video versus my review video versus other things. So you're seeing a lot more of it rather than just like a one-time thing. And I think all that's happened is TikTok is really, beauty TikTok, makeup TikTok is really in its 2016 era. That's what's happening. The people who weren't here on YouTube, or maybe, I mean, I'm sure there's some crossover of people who watched 2016 YouTube and now are very into makeup TikTok. But my thought is like they're boiling to something that we've already seen happen on our platform. Like history is repeating itself. Like that's really what's happening. Like there are trendsetters, people are stealing other people's looks and trends, and like that's all stuff that we've already dealt with on YouTube and kind of is what brought beauty YouTube to that like kind of big exploding point that it came to. Now, I don't know as far as like drama, that's like obviously a big, that was a big part of YouTube beauty culture. And that's where all the money was. And that's where people are getting mistaken that like all of the drama surrounding the biggest beauty YouTubers whose content was not even about beauty at the end of the day, really, was it? It was the way they even talked about product was so exaggerated, right? And again, to some extent, you are going to like exaggerate your personality in order to convey a point, to convey a message. But like, did you ever notice that beauty YouTubers in 2016, 2017, the big ones, never once did they ever put on anything and go, you know what, that was simply fine. I don't know if that's something you need to buy. It was always like, it's the best! Or it was always like, this is the worst thing I've ever put on my face. There was like never any in between when it came to beauty YouTube at that time. But now what I think is happening, like this is my personal opinion, what I think is happening is YouTube's in this transitionary phase, this beauty community here. And what it has become is like what I think, knock on wood, is becoming more of a community. And that's like what I'm trying to build on my channel, you know, a sense of community, not only like by being in my comment section and like, you know, recognizing names and learning people, but like not only that, but like, you know, I celebrate other YouTubers on my channel, and I don't know that everyone's doing that, like, but that's something that I really enjoy doing, and it's something that my subscribers and people who stick around my channel are here in it for the long haul. They also seem to really enjoy that that's like the route that I'm taking is like building community. And not only in building, what we're doing in building community is like, what we're realizing is that maybe the people that we want to watch on the internet as far as like beauty goes isn't always about buying. So what's happened is there's less money in the beauty community. That doesn't mean the beauty community is dying. I think a lot of the creators, and like this is also, you know, bias based on like the type of content I like to watch on beauty YouTube for the most part. Not everyone I watch falls into this category, but what it feels like with people like Hannah Louise Poston, myself, other people is like, after we've all had that moment where we like spent too much money, thought to play the makeup game was to buy every single release because that's what we were basically being told by the internet, by the people who are selling to us. We're like in that nuclear fallout space in the beauty community where we are trying to pick up the pieces and make sense of all of this makeup that we bought and sort through it and figure out what's worth it and what's not. And when we are deciding to buy new things, bring things into our collection, I think that's what the beauty community here on YouTube is like shifting into. And is there money in that? Not really. Like when you think about it, it's like the point of my channel is not to sell. Of course, I'm still buying new things, bringing new things into my makeup collection to try. They don't always stay in my makeup collection, but I'm always like, I obviously love trying new things. And I don't think that anyone in this space is trying to hide that they enjoy the act of like buying a new makeup item, because I think that would be a flat out lie from any single one of us. What we are trying to do is like shift the focus from buying all the new things all of the time to maybe buying a new thing sometimes and really sussing out what's happening in the beauty selling industry and like sussing out what they're doing and being like, they're trying to dupe us. They're trying to pull the wool over our eyes by like trying to resell us something that we already have. And essentially at this point, what you're really trying now is formulas, because like nothing hasn't been done before. Anytime something gets released, you can go, okay, that looks like this, and this, and might behave like this, and this. Nothing is like revolutionary anymore, right? And that's okay. And like, I still want to try new formulas of things that I might already have in my collection, but the focus is no longer on always buying the new. The focus on at least the beauty YouTube community that I'm involved with, or that I really focus my content on, the content that I watch the most, is like shifting your brain, trying to shift your brain into loving what you have more, because we've already seen what buying everything does. And I mean, that's at least where I'm at. That's how I feel. But just because something has not as much money in it for companies and even the people participating in it, there's not as much money in it for me, I just don't think that means it's dying. Also doesn't mean that it's like going anywhere. Because what I found, if you find your people, if you can find your people here, they will stick around, right? They understand what you're doing. They know what you're here for. And that's like really how I just don't understand this conversation and how it keeps coming up, because those of us who are in it know it. We know what it is. The trust that was lost because of the people at the top is something that the people who are getting into it now have to deal with the ramifications of. They don't have to. You might think they had to by like, not being on YouTube for a few months from being stupid or whatever, or doing something harmful. But no, ultimately the people at the bottom, people like me, people who have like 100,000 subscribers, people who have, 200,000 subscribers, they're the people dealing with the ramifications, because we have to build up the trust that people at the top ruined with their drama. And obviously, like I said, a lot of their drama wasn't even about beauty. It was something completely unrelated. It's something that had nothing to do with makeup. So it's a shame that that's what it's reflected on. Now, there are things that they have messed up that they shouldn't have, that directly involves with like how you make money on YouTube. They were hiding sponsorships, doing all of that, and that was something that had to be blown open. And that was like, why the drama channels existed initially, is because it was discovered that the people at the top were not disclosing partnerships, weren't disclosing that they were making money off us, and we didn't know any better. But now we do. Again, the people at the bottom who are completely open whenever they're making money, they're telling you that like, if you use this, I'll be making money off you. We're dealing with the ramifications of other people exploiting that. But I think we've kind of lost the topic. People are lumping the beauty community in with people, not the community. Like, I'm celebrating beauty in my own way by keeping my collection small, loving the makeup collection I have, not always buying more. Now, other people celebrate beauty by buying every release so you don't have to, so that they can try and be like, this is good, this is bad, and kind of give you the rundown. No, the shift is there. Like, you can feel it. Like, I'm here to celebrate beauty. Like, I want to celebrate beauty in the way that I want to celebrate beauty. And that's what I'm doing. I'm celebrating the makeup. I'm talking about the makeup. It's about the makeup. It's not about people. It's about makeup. Sometimes it has to be about people when you're using products from a brand that maybe they're not a great brand. Maybe they're bad people involved with that brand. And sometimes you have to acknowledge those things, or you don't acknowledge those things. You stop talking about those brands either quietly or publicly. You tell the people why you're not talking about those brands anymore. It's about makeup. And what I can say from looking at my comment section as like a small beauty creator, people are here for the community. Right? They're talking to each other. They're commenting on each other's. They're not only are they commenting on my stuff as a member of the community, they are all members of the beauty community themselves in the comment section. And I think that gets like lost in the sauce sometimes. I don't know. How do you all feel about this like greater conversation about the beauty community and like how it's failing and how it's dying? I don't think it's dying. I think it's shifting. It might be something that's a little more quiet. It might not be as loud as it once was. Does that mean it's dying? Maybe, but maybe people are celebrating beauty offline. Maybe people, maybe they have moved to TikTok and that's how they want to celebrate beauty. Or there are people who just go on Reddit and go on like makeup Reddit and talk about beauty there. It doesn't have to look the same. Somehow people on YouTube have decided that YouTube was the be all end all for makeup from start to end, but that's not it. It's an ever evolving thing. And I also think that like, while YouTube might be a quieter place for the beauty community for the time being, I was watching Raw Beauty Christie's video on it, and she discussed that like it's like all ebb and flow, right? Like right now we're in this point where like people really want shorter form content, and that's like what's doing better. But like, let us not forget that like there will be the other end of it. There will be a time where something happens on TikTok or in the short form that people don't like, and they'll come back to long form. And so like, where are you going to do that other than YouTube, right? I mean, unless something else comes along that's like that's better than YouTube. And I think the other thing this thing that I discovered while I was like, I downloaded this app, and I just really downloaded it because I wanted to see like what it was. It's an app, I believe it's called Flip. And essentially what it is TikTok, where you essentially buy all exclusive, like it's only to buy makeup products. So you scroll through, you see someone's review and you buy it immediately. It like makes that process easier. And I thought, this is not what I want to be on. Like, I don't want to make content here. That's like asking for it really at that point, because it's like, people are not going to like this. I mean, like people might like it to start. They might think, oh, this is a great idea. But I see no faster way for people to lose trust than in a platform exclusively for creators to sell makeup directly to you. And the whole thing is for everyone but the buyers on Flip to make money. I don't know that I like this eye look, but it's where we're going. All right. I forgot to put lip balm on before I started this whole process, so I'm gonna do that now. That's like an interesting thought process that I've been having while I was away. That's not like obviously the reason I was away, but like, oh, I guess not obviously, but like that wasn't the reason I was away. That wasn't why I was GONE. It was something I was thinking about while I was GONE. All right, let's start working on complexion. I think I only have like a couple squirts left. So I'm gonna prime my face with this Urban Decay All Nighter primer. Nope. I thought I really only had like a couple squirts left, but we're getting there. It's almost panned. And another thing I've been thinking a lot about, this is completely unrelated from my last train of thought, is like how disconnected I feel this pride in regards to like pride. And how I feel like everyone is a little misguided right now. And I say everyone, I'm certainly generalizing. I don't mean like every single person in the world is priding wrong or has lost the importance of it or whatever. And it's not so much my argument where I'm coming from is not so much like you shouldn't wear a little clothing and go party if that's how you're, that's like not really it. But I talked about this on my Instagram stories the one day, so if you saw it there, you might know what's coming out of my mouth next. So for those of you who don't know, DoorDash or something of that ilk, one of those delivery service apps, Postmates, I think it was Postmates, released a bottom-friendly menu. And boy howdy, did the gays think that was the most absurd and funny thing that ever happened. Like, what the hell? Why would they do this? Like, bottoms be knowing how to bottom. And this correlates also to a larger conversation to be had as well in regards to just like corporate pride. And so it's very easy for someone like me, and I think for a lot of people who live in either larger cities, which I don't actually, Pittsburgh's not a large city. Like, don't get it twisted. It's like not a huge city. But I have queer people in my life. I'm surrounded by queer people now, but that wasn't always the case. So I think it's very easy for some people, even people who once lived in a small town and might live in a larger city now, I think it's very easy for them to look at something like the bottom-friendly menu from Postmates or the Target Pride collection or all of these things and laugh them off as if they are insignificant and unimportant. And that is simply not true. I'm going to use myself as an example. And this is what I talked about on my Instagram stories, is that, like, I'm someone who identifies as a bottom, right? And I'm 31. And now I know that someone who is interested in bottoming or who has never like, as someone who is a bottom, I know, like, I've read online many times about like how one might want to adjust their diet whenever they're considering bottoming or if they're bottoming for the first time. Well, yeah, it definitely is an advertising ploy from Postmates. What you have to remember is there are people in this world who are gay, who are queer, who are bottoms, or maybe they will be bottoms, who do not know that. And you know why they don't know that? It's because they're not around queer people. And I'm 31. I did not know. And like, I mean, this is like outing me as other things too, but like, I didn't know that bottoms should do certain things in preparation for anal penetration. Do you think that YouTube's gonna demonetize me for saying those words? And so maybe, just maybe, there's someone who saw that on Postmates and was like, why would this, I don't understand. Like, I've heard this, and that is the fuel that ignites them to go learn more about it. And hopefully they don't use Postmates as their be all end all, but maybe Postmates was like the start of that thought process. And maybe the Target Pride collection is someone's only access to celebrating Pride. And maybe they're not in a safe space to buy any of the Target Pride collection, because if they do, they'll out themselves in these small towns. So maybe it's just enough for them to see it at Target. And it's enough for them to feel a little less alone. And so I just wish the cynicism in the like gay community, the LGBTQIA community, like, we gotta let it go. Like, obviously we have a lot of things to be cynical about. There's been a lot of wrong done to us as a community, as individuals. There has been. We cannot just so easily dismiss that we all have to start somewhere. And whenever you, a queer person who has maybe been able to be out and has had the privilege to be out and has learned about these things in the world, while you are sitting there laughing, someone who maybe learned about bottoms and what they should be eating from Postmates feels shame because of you laughing at the idea of it. And it makes them feel less than. That's so shameful. We want to celebrate and educate people in our community, and you are othering them by laughing at them. And like, right, I understand that like what people think they're laughing at is at Postmates, but like Postmates is going to make money whether or not they have a bottom friendly menu. The queer people who might have only ever learned about bottoms dieting differently than other people from Postmates, they don't get that if Postmates doesn't do that. And you laughing at them and laughing at that, it's like you just laughing at them. And while you might not think that's what's happening, it's like exactly what's happening. And even though that's not your intention, it is what's happening. Because if I just learned about bottoming 4 years ago and the dietary things 4 years ago, and I learned that by accident because I said something and someone looked at me like I had five heads, and they clearly knew that I didn't understand. And they didn't educate me. They didn't educate me there. No, I just knew by their weird reaction to what I had said that I had said something wrong. And so maybe we just proceed through this Pride Month and future Pride Months in the year with a little more openness, a little more of an open heart, instead of just making fun of everything. Like, why are we so inclined to make fun of everything? And again, I also can appreciate the silliness of Postmates, like making this choice and doing this and deciding to do this. I see it. I understand why we think it's silly. I'm not an imbecile. I understand. Like it, my gut reaction is that. But perhaps we don't just stop at gut reactions. Maybe we explore those feelings just like a little bit more. Maybe we don't always just behave on surface level thoughts. And I think, you can relate this back to the beauty. Like, I think a lot of the thoughts, discussions happening around the beauty community are surface level. They're not going deep enough. We're stopping at one thing when it's like, well, it might be like more than just that one thing. So just for like some food for thought, I'm also feeling very disconnected. And this happens all the time. And this is just, part of my being as a non-binary person. And as someone who was assigned male at birth, this time of year does not ever feel really good to me. And that's just the truth. Just because of what I was assigned at birth and the way I like to explore femininity, the people in the community that I'm attracted to, there's almost an innate sense of unattraction to me just because of my interests, the way I present, whatever. And it's just it's incredibly frustrating. And the feelings come every year. And it's like, we're celebrating Pride, but it's like, who are we celebrating at Pride? Right? Like, I'm celebrating everyone, but is everyone celebrating everyone? No. The cis white gay men of the world, they are who we're celebrating, aren't they? They're the face of us, aren't they? Well, they're the face that we are given, aren't they? And it's a little bit like, that's not me. I mean, I am white, but not cis. I don't know. I feel like I'm celebrated more in my community than I mean people like me too. I'm celebrated more by the people I know and love and who are like my direct friends, I guess, as opposed to the community at large. And I don't know, that's really sad. It shouldn't feel like this. It shouldn't feel like this. It shouldn't feel like it feels just like Gay Male Pride Month. It doesn't feel like also Lesbian Pride Month. It doesn't also feel like Trans Pride Month. It doesn't feel like all of those things. It just feels like a very singular thing that we are celebrating. And that's upsetting to me. And this feeling surfaces every Pride Month. It's hard to talk about, right? Because it's you never want to talk about a community that you are adjacent to or involved in a poor light. However, the toxic masculinity that exists in the heteronormative world exists also in the LGBTQIA world, right? Where if you're not familiar, it's essentially what's happened is like there are the white gay men at the top who are like getting what they want, but then they get something for them, but then they don't reach back and pull the rest of us up. They're much more concerned for their own well-being. And even like in the sake of romance, it's like mask for mask conversation that comes up all the time. It's just like, I'm over it. I'm over it. Like, I'm over this like thought, this feeling, these things that come up like every Pride Month. So I've been sitting a lot in that. And that like also is a little bit correlated to like some of the feelings, like why I was gone. Like I experienced a little bit of heartbreak, and we don't need to like elaborate on that really at all, because it's heartbreak that's not even like really settled yet. And it's heartbreak that might not in the grand scheme mean anything. And I don't know how to describe it better than that, but like that's the best I can do. But the reason I was feeling like part of the heartbreak was unrelated to the person that I was feeling the heartbreak from. The heartbreak also emanates in just like this. As someone who is fat and queer and femme, I can't just download Grindr. I cannot just download dating apps and potentially have a good time, because I, as someone who does not appear to be normal, and I'm saying that in air quotes because I don't buy into that, is like the people who interact with me, people like me on hookup sites, fetishize who I am. They're not after actually who I am. They just fetishize my appearance, my presentation. That's what they're into. And a lot of them, many of them, will never see past that. And that's like really frustrating. So I'm like left in this abyss of hatred. And not only that, on applications where anyone can message anyone, I mostly receive hate for presenting, doing things the way I like to do. And so the idea of potentially having to throw myself into this dating sphere if I want to date, was like sad, just like sad. It was like, I like almost like, just like, I really never want to do that again. Truly. Like, I'm not interested in putting myself in that position, because being that type of vulnerable is like incredibly exhausting and all consuming, right? Like, you get a message from someone, you get that ding, you get that like, ooh, someone reached out to me, and then you open it and it's someone part of your community calling you the F slur. And again, I'm not trying to like talk about this to distract from like happy things during Pride, because of course those do exist. And of course there are people out there who are probably having like the Pride of their lives and having like a really good time. And this is like not me trying to take away from that. It's just like me talking about my experience. And you shouldn't take my experience as you should take my experience as a singular experience and not blanket statement that like Pride is a detriment to the gay community. That's like not even what I'm trying to say. It's just like, I'm just sharing. While I definitely have used the F slur in a joking tone before amongst peers and amongst friends, I would never call someone I don't know in any way the F slur. I don't know what their relationship with the F slur is. And I certainly also would not refer to anyone I did not know as queer, because not everyone likes the word queer. Not everyone identifies with the word queer. It's not something that we all have reclaimed. It's not something that straight people should call blanket statement people. I mean, I identify as queer. It's okay to call me queer, but that's because that is how I feel about the word queer. So for people to, on these dating apps, call me the F slur comfortably, and they think they can because we run in the same circles, is just like absolutely absurd to me. And, you know, there's like times and places where like it has been funny and it has been a word I've used. But again, contextually, I don't know how these people are speaking to me on these apps and whatever. And so like basically what I'm left to in a state of self-preservation is to simply not, which is like really not what I want to do. I would love to, like, if I'm feeling open to dating, I would love to date, but I would love to date without, like, the caveats, right? Without all of this. And let me say right here, right now, I'm not saying that anyone has it easy in the dating scene. Straight people, gay people, queer people, trans people, no one has it easy in the dating world. The dating world online is, like, absolutely obtuse and awful for everyone, but like I'm just sharing my personal experience, like why I'm feeling this way, where this hurt is coming from. A lot of the heartbreak that I was feeling, not a lot of it, but a lot of, well, trying to decide if whether a lot is like the right word. Some of the heartbreak I was feeling, it was like this person who the heartbreak is associated with. He was one of the only people, and I say only, and I mean it, like one of the only people who's ever seen through all of this and knows that this is not where this ends, right? Do you know what I mean? Like there is a personality, there is something that isn't all of this underneath, and he understands like expression, he understands, you know, he understands all of these things, and that's rare, right? And so like that was part of like the heartbreak, is like, will I ever be able to experience, find that again? Do I want to open myself to potentially experience what I'm feeling right now again? And so where did that leave me now? How, after living in these intense feelings by myself for the last week, how do I proceed? How do I feel? What am I doing? And the answer is like, I really don't know. I don't know how I feel. Like, you know, I'm feeling a lot of things. I'm feeling nothing. I haven't highlighted the bridge of my nose in like an incredibly long time. I actually have a plan for my lips, which is unlike me. And I can't talk while I'm doing my lips. So I'll just, you know, zoom zaboomafoo through it for you. I'm going to finish up this look, and then I will come in and we'll talk about all the products that I used, and then, you know, go from there. That's the look, done and dusted. I'm going to zoom in so you can take a look. I realized that my conversation just like kind of like stopped in the middle of me having it, but I think that's where I needed to stop. So this is the final look. In my Let's Play with Makeup videos, I like to touch base, reflect on everything I used, and, you know, touch base with how I feel about them. The eyeshadows we'll talk about on another video. We'll get more into like it, but I had a great time playing with these blues and purples today. The Urban Decay All Nighter Primer, I really want this to be gone. It's like, I'm so close. Like, look at it. Like, it's really, there just isn't much left. And I'm excited that I'm so close to the end of it, which means I can like move on from it and start finishing up something else. I'm not a project panner. If you're new here, like I don't project pan. That's like not something that's part of my journey, but I try really hard. I'm trying really hard to use up a couple of things. So, but I don't always use them. Like I'm not making that concerted of effort. So that's why I'm like not a project planner. For my base day, I used a myriad of things, which I'm sure you probably were like, what are they doing? So let me talk you through it. So at first I used this Chanel green color corrector. I really enjoy this. I think I used a little too much today. I felt like I looked more green than usual. So I think I overused today, but really like this product. Then in my areas where I have like the biggest pores, I like to focus this. So that's forehead and cheeks. And that's what you saw me blending out with this small brush. This is the Dr. Jart Dissapore. I really like this, but I've been not using it as an all-over complexion product so much anymore, as more of like a second primer. I don't know. And like what I did today is certainly something I would not do to wear into the public. This is a lot of makeup for that. This is for camera. This is what I was doing the look for. I was like doing the look for camera, for taking photos later. That's the kind of skin that I was doing. So it's not the same skin that I would do if I was going out. For foundation all over, I use the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel Foundation, which if you haven't seen, I did a review of it. So go ahead and watch that if you'd like. And then for concealer, this is another thing I'm trying to use up. This is the YSL Touche Éclat Radiant Touch Concealer. And I just used that under the eyes. And I also did a little bit on the nose, which is also something that I don't normally do if I'm like going out. That was just because I'm like, I'm on camera, I'm having fun. The Atelier Eye Primer is always a solid one for me. I really like it. For bronzer, I used the Natasha Denona Tan Bronze and Glow palette, and I used these two shades, and then I topped it with that, and I did not use this highlighter shade here. But I haven't used that in a while, and I thought my skin looked really good with it, especially for like the kind of look that I'm doing. It worked really well. For blush, I have this Jouer Duo. This is the shades Coquette. So there's 2 shades in here, and I use both of them. Up here, I use the darker, and then on coming down my cheek, I use the lighter of the 2 shades. And then for highlight, I use Lunaris from Ritual de Fille. I know I'm so close to hitting pan on this, so I'm just like kind of waiting for that to happen. For powder, I used the Chantecaille Blur powder, which I always like. It's like something I always am reaching for. And then for lip balm, I used the Mario Badescu lip balm. And I also used the Patrick Ta lip liner for the pink. And then I use Lavender Jade from MAC in the center. And on top, I use this discontinued shade from Pat McGrath, Paraphernalia. And that's how I got this like cosmic lip. It's been a verbose one. It's been a chatty one. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to vote for me for Best of Pittsburgh. That's all linked down below. I'm on Patreon if you would like to support me there. And don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Remember to follow your Haute and you will find me. Bye. Rant.